current requirements. Oh, okay, now you know. We are being recorded and transcribed so that people who could not attend the tutorial. I hope you don't mind. It will be mostly the sound of our speech. But again, if you are too shy about being recorded, you know, type your stuff on Discord and we'll answer it as best as we can. Okay? Right. So many P's a little time. Oh, we're being popular. I'll continue. Let me see if this clicker works. Option. Gosh, I hope you work. Ah, excellent. It does. Good. So I can move a little bit more. So what we'll cover? We'll overview the extended reality design process. We will focus on XR prototyping methods from low fidelity prototyping, which is still popular, high fidelity prototyping with interactions. We will go through a taxonomy of extended reality authoring tools, work on XR development tools, cover XR design guidelines, and at the last, we'll cover the research directions in prototyping for extended reality. What we will not cover here are advanced extended reality concepts and technologies. This is more about designing with commercial off-the-shelf technologies. DIY, do-it-yourself extended reality devices and add-ons. As fun as that might be, it would be a fun tutorial to do. Maybe coming to a VR or ISMAR conference in the future, or SIGGRAPH, who knows. Immersive audio, as fun as that might be, ambisonics, haptics, and this is not a programming course. We will not be teaching programming with Unity, so hope you don't mind. Actually, in our courses in VR and AR, we do not teach Unity or to any other tools like it. We expect the students to develop that by themselves, and we expect people who design on this course to have access to tools and knowledge of programming. And actually, there are zero code tools available right now that you can also use. So we'll focus more on the interaction design process by itself. And there is an excellent book on interaction design, which is actually called by Interaction Design by Jenny Priest and others. This is focus is the same of the this course, which is the designing of user experience through technology. And I will go now to a short video on by Bill Verplank, a known authority on interaction design.
Interaction design. Focusing on design for people. Acting on the world and getting feedback from the world. Interaction designer has 3 questions to answer. First question is how do you go back?
So, how can you affect the state of the world?
Handles and buttons. So I can deal with the world by pushing buttons, by grab a bullet, and pull. This is the handle. Continuous control. Buttons, screen control. The second question is how do you feel? This is how to get feedback. There is a distinction between what they call fuzzy or cool distinction. Early television, cool media, it's fuzzy images. Book, reading, gravestone. Mention or change it. Cool media drawing.
You could also say rich media.
Handle. The question is, how do you know? And as we design interactions with computers, it's very difficult for the user what those know exactly what they're going to do. A nice dichotomy is deciding whether the user needs a map to see an overview of how everything works. Making the user just needs to know exactly what to do moment to moment. It's sufficient. Let's do this, do this, do this. So those are the three basic things that happen in interaction. We're designing what does something. We by it's designed as we design the way that the machine will give feedback. Finally, it's the machine kind of knowledge to expect from our users. We design good maps for them to roll the things. We design the emergency procedures step by step. So that's the first what speaks.
So cool. So interaction design, according to Bill Verplank, I like this video a lot because it explains in very simple terms the three main questions that you need to answer for you doing effective interaction design. So what do you do? How do you affect the world? What functions are available to you? What commands? And he talked about handles and buttons. And these things have affordances. Have you heard the term? Okay, so affordances. We'll talk a little bit more about affordances, but they are related to how do you sense the world and how do you know what kind of objects there are that allow you to change the status of the world, and how do you view how do you see these changes taking effect, and what you learned from these interactions. Again, other definitions from, this is a longish video.
Interaction design is easier to define by what it isn't, by what it is. Many people think of interaction design as rollovers, transitions, and animations, but it's actually a complex and wide-ranging field that covers nearly all aspects of human cognition, emotion, and behavior. There are also many different job titles and terms we may encounter, such as interaction designer, interactive designer, and experience designer. Although there may be subtle differences in our job descriptions and the tasks we undertake, in the end, we're all still focused on creating engaging, interactive experiences between people and devices. Interaction design is also more than just drawing the interface and showing how to gather and display information. It's about designing the entire interconnected system, the device, the interface, the context, the environment, the people. If you really want to get specific, according to the Interaction Design Association, interaction design, often abbreviated IXD, defines the structure and behavior of interactive systems. Interaction designers strive to create meaningful relationships between people and the products and services that they use. Computers, mobile devices to appliances, and beyond. But interaction design is not a new field. Let's go back to the beginning of personal computers and desktop software, one of the first components of interaction design in the 1980s.
Well, I guess you can watch the whole, just a notice, you have the URLs for both of these videos. They're available on YouTube. They are longer than the excerpts we are showing you. So this is just about motivation and an important thing that we believe to, contrary to conventional design models, we believe in iterating. So we start by discovering requirements. We need to design alternatives, and we can iterate between these two stages. Then we do all sorts of prototyping, and we have many different types of many different kinds of prototypes, and we can iterate here as well. And one important part here is evaluating our what we have developed. And usually, I would say this iteration cycle takes as long as you wish or as long as the client is willing to pay for. So iterate, iterate, iterate. And I would now yield the floor to my colleague, Mark Billinghurst, who will talk about discovering requirements. Mark, can you take over from here? Maybe sharing the screen from your side?
Thanks, Joaquim. That's great. Let me just share the screen here. We had some problems online with the video audio, so hopefully it was okay in the room. But for us, the audio is breaking up a little bit on the video, so I'm not sure what that was. But anyway, so what I want to talk about now. So Joachim just introduced the concept of interaction design. I'll talk very briefly about the three areas that four areas that make up interaction design, and then give a brief case study. So the first area is needs and analysis, and this is really about creating a deep understanding of the user and the problem space using a wide variety of tools, including personas and empathy maps, and we'll talk about those in a minute. The second area is designing. So once you understand the problem space and the user, you need to design a system that will fit their people's needs, and using techniques like brainstorming and other techniques. Then the third area, of course, is prototyping. So in this case, you want to build a functioning system or prototype that you can now test with people using a combination of low-level and high-level techniques. And then the fourth area is user evaluation. So once you've got a system that you can test, then of course you can do some evaluation now using formal usability studies or other things as well. So that kind of takes you around the whole interaction design cycle. And as Joachim said, you iterate around those as many times as you need until you get to a final product or system that you think is really usable and provides a good experience. To give you an example of that, I want to talk about a project that we worked on in New Zealand a few years ago. So in New Zealand, at one point, I was living in the city of Christchurch, and this is Christchurch. And Christchurch is a very beautiful city. They have
Mark, you might want to share the screen because I believe you're still using talking to my slides.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I sure had shared it. Let me just go back.
I will stop sharing here and yeah.
Let me share again. Sorry about that.
There you go.
You can see my screen now?
The wrong one.
This one here?
Presenter view.
Okay.
You
Sorry,
might want to share the other screen.
Yes,
that's fine.
I'm just doing that note now. Thank you so much. There we go.
It's called Meetings Impaired by Zoom. Impaired by technology, not necessarily just Zoom. There are worse things than Zoom.
So, as I was saying, about 10 or 12 years ago, or 15 years ago, I was living in the city of Christchurch, New Zealand, and it's a very beautiful city. They have a cathedral in the middle of the city, a river that goes through the middle where people boat on. But some of you may remember in 2011, there was a very big earthquake. And so this is the cathedral before the earthquake, and this is the cathedral after the earthquake. And you can see it's collapsed, and then there were some people killed with a bus, a building fell on top. So in 2021, we decided to build a memorial application. And the idea was to allow people to walk around the city with their mobile phone, and then to be able to see immersive photographs from different locations from 10 years ago. Because, of course, after the earthquake, they had cleaned up everything, but now they wanted to be able to show what it was like immediately after the earthquake. And so to do that, we used a number of different tools, and went all the way from paper and pencil to sketching, all the way through to using Unity and building a native application. So the first start of the process was to sketch out interaction flow, and to be able to say what screens people were going to be able to see on the mobile app. And then we turned that into a more formal interaction flow using a PowerPoint and added a few more screens. Then we went and sketched some user interfaces on a mock-up of a phone. Then we used a really great application called Pop, and Pop allows you to take photographs of sketches and add interactivity. So here's the photographs on the phone, and then this is a video of the app working. So you'll see that I can touch the screen, and I can go through as if it was a real working app, and imagine what it'd be like using the app on the device. So this is a really super useful app to use if you're sketching and doing prototype sketching. Then we took some formal pictures and started making the final assets. And then we brought them into another tool called Proto.io, which allows you to, it's a web-based tool that allows you to mock up mobile apps in a very high fidelity way. And then we could test that. So this is a video of the app working on the web. And with Proto.io, you can, that grey dot there is the finger moving around, and I can now click through the screens and test the transitions as well, and go through the list of different points of interest and see the immersive view. And then from there, we went to build the final interface. So this is the more polished interface. And then finally, we started building in Unity. So the project was 9 weeks, but for 6 weeks of the project, we didn't do any coding. And we did all the mock-ups and all the early testing and everything using other tools. And then what we could do is give the Proto.io mock-up and also the assets to a developer. And because they already had a working example on the Proto.io, they could very, very quickly turn that into a real working app. And this video here shows the app working. So you can see in a minute they'll start, and then they will click to the start screen, and they'll go through some credits and also some help information, and then show the app working. So this is the instructions on how to use the app. Now, if you're in Christchurch and you're walking through the city, you could see a map, and you could on the map have a GPS location that would show you what photos are around you. If you're not in Christchurch, you could use it remotely. And the app is still available now in the App Store, so you can still use it remotely. This talks about the earthquake and how some people lost their life. And then it takes you to a list or a view of the different photographs, and then you can view them on your phone as immersive panoramas. So here's the map showing where the pictures are taken from. You can pan around, and then you can click on one picture and it will load up an immersive view. And so this is what it looked like. A couple of days after the earthquake, you can see the spire has fallen from the cathedral, and there's a fence around the cathedral to protect people. And then you can go from this to a list of locations, and then you can look at other locations where the earthquake was. So here's a list of locations. You can pick one of these ones, and it shows you another part of the city and how that looked. So you can see that here, and this is a part where some of the fronts of the buildings fell off, unfortunately. This is one of the main shopping streets in Christchurch. So that's the app working. And then finally, we deployed it onto the App Store. And as I said, you can go on the App Store now and look for CityView AR and download the app. And the interesting thing, we went from a rough idea of what we wanted, so we did that user-defining requirements I talked about. Then we sketched out some ideas on the interface. We made some rough wireframes, built an interactive prototype using the POP, built a high-fidelity prototype, and then started doing the coding, and then testing, and then deployed the app. So that was the development phase, but you can see through all those steps, it was really only when we got to the number 6, we actually started doing coding. And then, of course, it was a very iterative process as well. So every step of the way, we could get feedback from people, change our design a little bit, and provide more feedback as well. So the main idea of this is it shows you how in a design project in XR, you can use many different tools. You can iterate around the prototypes and get feedback from people, and then iteratively converge on a final solution. So that's everything I want to say from now. I'm going to turn the time back to Joaquim, and he's going to start talking about the needs analysis cycle.